Title: The Trillion Dollar Eclipse, The Outrageous Anatomy of the $2 Trillion SpaceX IPO. Docs track. Audio/sound FX. Voiceover artist. Deep, resonant, dramatic, paced with the tension of a Wall Street thriller. #ACT1. The hook. 0-100 to 230. Asterisk. Nor. Low, distant rumble of a rocket engine booster. The tick-tick-tick of a stock ticker blends seamlessly into the countdown. Asterisk. 9-1 craft good. To me minus 10 seconds. On the sun-baked launch pads of Boca Chica, Texas, a tower of stainless steel breathes plumes of cryogenic oxygen. It is Starship, the largest flying object ever built by human hands. But 3,000 miles to the northeast, inside the wood-paneled boardrooms of Manhattan, an entirely different kind of countdown is reaching zero. Chimes card, some hands, FX, a loud, sharp gavel strike. The chaotic hubbub of the New York Stock Exchange floor floods the audio. Asterisk voiceover. Asterisk April 1st, 2026. A date usually reserved for fools. But what crossed the desks of the Securities and Exchange Commission was no joke. It was a confidential filing. The holy grail of finance. The SpaceX IPO prospectus. For 2 decades, Wall Street's elite have begged, pleaded, and scraped for a piece of Elon Musk's aerospace empire. It was the ultimate private kingdom, but now the gates are swinging open. The target? A staggering, mind-bending $2 trillion. Cancelsly, music swells, minimalist, modern, anxious synths. Asterisk, voiceover, times asterisk. Let that number sink in. $2 trillion. That is not just a corporate valuation. It is the gross domestic product of entire nations. It is more than Alphabet, more than Amazon, chasing down the heels of Apple and Microsoft. To put this into perspective, just weeks ago, SpaceX executed a dramatic 5-for-1 stock split, slicing its headline share price from over $526 down to an accessible $105. It was a calculated, populist move to prime the retail market for a frenzy. 21 elite investment banks, spearheaded by Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, are currently locked in. A brutal, back-alley knife fight to lead the syndicate. But as the initial euphoria settles, the institutional analysts pulling apart the confidential prospectus have felt their blood run cold. Because this is not the SpaceX they thought they knew. This isn't just a story about rockets, or satellite internet, or NASA contracts. The documents reveal a dark, high-stakes corporate gamble. Tucked inside the balance sheets is a massive structural transformation. The sudden, controversial acquisition of XAI Elon Musk's private artificial intelligence venture. A deal that quietly injected a massive multi-billion-dollar GAAP net loss into SpaceX's clean books, driven by the insatiable, burning capital expenditure demands of AI supercomputers. Wall Street is realizing they are not being asked to buy a rocket company. They are being asked to underwrite a volatile, multi-planetary AI ecosystem. A bet where the upside is the colonization of the cosmos, and the downside is a spectacular, gravity-defying financial collapse. The $2 trillion question hangs over the global markets like an orbital strike. Is this the greatest investment opportunity in human history? Or the ultimate corporate illusion? Music slams to a sudden stop. A breath of hollow space wind. Asterisk, asterisk. ACT2, the narrative core, 2, 30 to 7. 30. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, The engine of the empire. Starlink's reality. Low-frequency tech drone. The rhythmic ping of a satellite signal. Asterisk voiceover. Times. Asterisks. To understand how we arrived at a $2 trillion valuation, we have to look past the smoke of the launch pad and look at the invisible network wrapping around the globe. We have to look at Starlink. For years, skeptics called satellite internet a fool's errand. They pointed to the ghost of Iridium and Global Star, monuments to bankrupt orbiters. But by the close of 2025, Starlink didn't just survive, it conquered. The numbers leaked from the draft prospectus are jaw-dropping. In 2025, SpaceX generated an estimated $18. $7 billion in total revenue, marking a roaring 43% leap year over year. And who was carrying the flag? Starlink, accountable for a staggering $11. $4 billion, the satellite network alone represents over 60% of SpaceX's top-line revenue. By February of 2026, Starlink officially crossed the Rubicon of 10 million active, paying subscribers across 160 countries. FX. Sound of a tension-building drumbeat. Asterisk. Voiceover. Asterisk. But look closer at the financial plumbing. To achieve this monstrous scale, Musk did something that terrified traditional CFOs. He traded margin for monopoly. Between 2023 and 2026, the average revenue per subscriber actually dropped by 18%, down to roughly $81 a month. Why? Because SpaceX weaponized its ultimate competitive advantage: vertical integration. While every other telecom company on Earth has to pay a premium to launch their hardware into the heavens, SpaceX launches its own satellites at cost, on its own reusable rockets. In 2025, SpaceX executed a record-breaking 165 Falcon 9 launches. But here's the kicker. Only 43 of those launches were for outside clients, like the Pentagon or commercial satellite TV networks. The remaining 3/4 of the launches were entirely internal, building a cage of silicon and laser-linked bandwidth around the planet. Starlink generated a pristine $4 billion in operating profit last year. It is a cash cow, a money printing machine in low Earth orbit. And under normal circumstances, a company spinning off billions in pure operating cash from an maître ironclad global monopoly would be crowned the darling of Wall Street. But these are not normal circumstances, because that $4 billion orbital profit isn't going back to investors. It is being funneled directly into a furnace. Asterisk, asterisk, hash, hash, hash. The convergence campaign. The XAI intrusion plane. Mechanical, cold computer processing sounds grow louder, overlaying the space sounds. Asterisk. Asterisk. In February of 2026, Elon Musk shocked the private equity world. In a swift all-stock transaction, SpaceX officially acquired XAI, Musk's artificial intelligence startup, valuing the combined entities at a baseline of $1. 25 trillion before the public IPO push. On paper, the synergy sounded like science fiction. Musk spoke vividly about the necessity of orbital data centers, massive, solar-optimized supercomputers floating in space. Unconstrained by earthly power grids, cooled by the absolute zero of the cosmic vacuum, broadcasting intelligence through the Starlink constellation. The FCC was even bombarded with applications to comment on orbital compute nodes. But Wall Street doesn't trade in science fiction. It trades in GAAP accounting, movie apis, and voiceover. Times asterisk. When institutional investors opened the confidential prospectus, they found a horror show hidden beneath the Starlink profits. Despite $6 billion in adjusted EBITDA, SpaceX reported a massive $9 billion GAAP net loss for 2025. The culprit? The insatiable, burning hunger of artificial intelligence. XAI's relentless pursuit of advanced frontier models requires tens of thousands of next-generation AI chips. Supercomputers chew through electricity and cash like a supernova. By merging XAI into SpaceX, Musk effectively created a financial shield. He took the pristine predictability of Starlink's subscription revenue and used it to subsidize his brutal, hyper-expensive arms race against OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. The traditional finance crowd is furious. They wanted to buy a utility company with rocket booster growth. Instead, they are being forced to fund a speculative AI battlefield. And then there is the matter of control. Asterisk, asterisk, hash, hash, hash. The $2 trillion Trinity times asterisk FX slow heavy beat. The sound of coin clinking mixed with metal metronome. Asterisk. Voiceover. And Psalms asterisks. If you buy a share of Apple, you buy a say in the company. If you buy into the SpaceX IPO, you are buying a ticket to a theater, where Elon Musk holds every single microphone. The prospectus confirms the implementation of an ironclad dual-class share structure. The public will receive Class A shares. But Musk and his inner circle retain the supervoting Class B shares, packing an unstoppable 10 votes per share. Under these immutable terms, Elon Musk cannot be removed. He cannot be forced out by activist investors. He cannot be overridden by a hostile board. The man owns 43% of the private entity, but post-IPO, his voting control will be absolute. This creates a terrifying corporate governance paradigm, what analysts are calling the Musk Trinity. With xAI absorbed into SpaceX, and Tesla already investing billions into xAI's compute, Musk is aggressively stitching his empire into a single, unified ecosystem. Tesla provides the physical robotics, the autonomous vehicles, the Optimus humanoids. SpaceX provides the orbital infrastructure, the global data pipeline, and the launch capabilities. And xAI acts as the connective tissue, the omniscient digital brain guiding it all. It is a corporate web designed to make Musk completely untouchable by standard market forces. For the sovereign wealth funds of the Middle East, for the massive pension funds of Europe, and the institutional titans of Vanguard and BlackRock, this IPO presents an unprecedented paradox. To back SpaceX is to surrender all traditional investor rights, yielding completely to the erratic, brilliant, and unpredictable whims of a single individual. ACT3, the climax, 7:30-10. 0, 0, asterisk, 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 the road to Mars and the ultimate liquidity, chasm, Nord time asterisk, FX. The sound of a rocket engine sparking into life, a deafening rhythmic burst. Asterisk, voiceover. Nimes asterisk. Why do this now? Why expose the crown jewel of the private tech world to the unforgiving quarterly scrutiny of the public stock markets? The answer lies in the ultimate unyielding mission statement written into the very first page of the SpaceX charter in 2002 to make humanity a multiplanetary species. Building a city on Mars is not a corporate goal. It is an astronomical cash sinkhole. The development of Starship, the construction of massive launch infrastructures, the logistics of deep space transport, demands an amount of capital that no private venture market on Earth can sustain forever. Even Brookfield's massive pre-IPO investment of $2 billion is a drop in the bucket. The planned $75 billion public raise is the opening salvo of a decade-long capital campaign to finance the literal colonization of the Red Planet. Orchestral strings rise to a stunning, high-stakes crescendo. Knott's voiceover. Asterisk. As June 2026 approaches, the financial world is holding its breath. This IPO is the ultimate litmus test for global capitalism. It forces the public markets to decide what they truly value. Are they willing to look past a $4, $9 billion net loss? Are they willing to ignore the corporate governance red flags, the unproven promises of space-based AI, and the dilution of their voting power, just to hitch their wagons to a star? If the bank successfully priced this offering above $2 trillion, it will rewrite the laws of corporate finance forever. It will prove that in the modern era, high-conviction narrative, sheer audacity, and the cult of personality can overpower any traditional balance sheet. Nimes FX. The sound of the Starship booster engaging a roaring, earth-shattering soundscape. Asterisk voiceover. The countdown clock is ticking. The roadshows are commencing. The order books are filling up. As the financial machinery of the Western world prepares for the largest listing in human history, one thing is undeniably clear. When that opening bell rings, investors will not just be buying stock. They will be betting on the absolute limits of human ambition. They will be buying a piece of a future where the sky is no longer the ceiling, but merely the starting line. The rocket roar peaks, blending with the loud ringing of the trading bell. The bell rings continuously, then cuts abruptly to absolute silence. The Canentry talk a voiceover. Under night, under asterisk, a tense, quiet whisper, under the ultimate gamble begins now.